Oh no, some of you aren't gonna like this answer. This might come as a surprise to some of you, but I have never paid myself a penny. Of course, there's been blood, sweat and tears over it. How much did it cost to start Sunnyside? Please don't let this figure scare you. This figure is quite high. You may not agree, but hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good, I hope you're having a lovely Sunday, and I hope life is treating you well. For this week's video, I thought we could have a little sit down, chatty, small business related Q&A. I've found that as my content is kind of evolving here on YouTube, I'm getting more and more questions about running a small business, the cost of a small business, the ups and the downs, so I thought I would just answer all of your questions combined into a neat little package. If small business content isn't really your kind of thing, I'm really sorry. I hope I will see you again soon with a different style of video. The weekly vlogs remain, so I'm sure I'll make something that you enjoy a bit more soon. But I've got a few little disclaimers before I start. So the first one being that I'm filming this on a brand new camera. It literally arrived a few hours ago and I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm really sorry if any of the settings are a little bit off. I hope it looks and sounds okay. If not, I will figure it out by the time I film the next one. The second disclaimer is that I'm going to be very, very honest in this video, and I understand that sometimes here on YouTube, honesty comes with backlash. However, I'm going to put that out of my mind, try and forget about it, because I want to be 100% honest with you today. I don't want to give you wishy-washy answers, sugarcoat things, answer things half-heartedly, avoid the questions that you all really want to know, like how much does it actually cost to run a business. I've got so many questions about startup costs and things like that, so I am going to answer it. I am going to talk about specific financial figures, and if you don't like it or if any of it offends you, apologies in advance, but I've already said it. And I just want this video to be like I'm having a chat with a mate over a cup of tea, you know? I want to tell you things that I would tell any of my friends because I think it can be really helpful to some people. So whether you're starting up a new business or you're just a little bit nosy, I hope you enjoy this video. But before I head into the first question, I just quickly want to say a big thank you to the team at Surfshark for very kindly sponsoring this video. If you haven't heard of Surfshark, let me enlighten you. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network, and I personally couldn't be without them, especially now that I run a business. Running Sunnyside is one, expensive, and two, I'm doing it on my own. I'm not a whole team of people. I want to keep myself and my information as safe as physically possible online. Surfshark is essentially a little underground tunnel to the internet, and they fight off all the hackers, and they do it by giving you a new IP address. Your IP address is essentially how the hackers access you, all your info, all your card details, all the stuff that you don't really want anybody else to know. There's a lot of online shopping that comes with running a business, from buying boxes online to buying the actual stock, and Surfshark helps put my mind at ease that no one can access my bank details. But a little bonus of using Surfshark is that you can connect to an IP address anywhere around the world, and then you can access the internet as if you're in that country. So if you connect to Miami or anywhere else in America, you know what that means. American Netflix. I think anybody using the internet, including you, should open your eyes to a VPN, and the team at Surfshark have got an exclusive discount code just for you guys. I'll leave a link to Surfshark in the description down below, and if you use the code FABULOUS, you can get 83% off and 3 months extra free. It works out to less than a few pounds a month, and it is so worth it to keep your bank details and all your money safe. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this section of the video. I've been through all the questions and screenshotted the ones that came up the most often, that I feel will be the most helpful for people. I'm going to start off near the beginning. Somebody said, how do you make your own business plan? Honestly, I didn't. I had a rough idea in my head of what I wanted to achieve over the first year, but I didn't actually write anything down, make a detailed business plan. Should I have done? Probably, yeah. But also, I think when you're running a small business, you've got to keep up with the times online, you've got to hop on trends, you've got to keep it rolling, and you can't predict that a lot of the time. In case you're new here, I should probably say this at the start, but with my business Sunnyside Co, I design and sell dog accessories, harnesses, collars, leads, all that good stuff. Here's an example of one just here. This is my dog Sunny's harness. It is a bit grubby right now. It's not the best example to show you of my products because this one is well due a wash. As I kind of got to know the sort of vibe I wanted to go for, Then I started thinking about the logo, the brand colour, which is a very pale pink. So I started to build up what I wanted my brand to look like, what I wanted it to be like, and another important thing is the kind of customers I wanted to buy from me. Age, gender, what type of breeds are going to be buying my products. I think if you can get to know your customer base as quickly as possible, you're onto a winner. How did you know you found a genuine supplier for your items? For me, samples. Every single time I place a bulk order, I get samples through. It costs a couple of £100 to get them made and shipped over, but it is so worth it, especially at the beginning. I got samples from a few different suppliers, and some of them, the quality was just not up to scratch as the one that I went with in the end. And I am so glad that I did that. I think no matter what your product is, whether you're selling jumpers, stationery, dog accessories, get samples every single time before you place a new order of a new product. What's the downsides of running the business? There honestly isn't a lot of downsides. I don't know if that's because I enjoy doing it so much, but I would say like a downside is that when you're in quite a niche market, you'll find yourself comparing yourself to everybody else in the market. I am so bad for it. I will compare myself to people to the point where I'll have a bad week because of my own brain. I'll be thinking, how have they done this and I haven't? And like so a lot of the time I feel very behind. There's always something to be doing with a business. There's always going to be competition, but it is healthy. And I try to tell myself at the end of the day, the only person I'm competing with is myself. I always want my next collection to be better than my last. And on the days where I have that mindset, things go really well. Funny about that, isn't it? Will Sunnyside be your job forever or just a few years? I definitely don't want it to be just a few years. The plan is for it to be a lot longer. I can't say whether it's going to be forever or not. I just don't know. You've got to roll with the times. But I definitely didn't start Sunnyside as a temporary thing that's like going to go on for a couple of years and then stop. That is not my plan. Next question. This is the one that a lot of people want to know. How much did you save up to start? How much did it cost to start Sunnyside? I want to start off by saying every single small business is different because it depends what market you're in, it depends what you're selling, it depends whether you've got a bulk buy of products. For me, that was what ramped up the price. The fact that when I buy my products from the suppliers, I have to buy a certain amount of each design in each size. But I've got my laptop here and I'm actually going to have a look at my Sunnyside business account because I'll be able to see how much money I was transferring into the account at the beginning. Please don't let this figure scare you. This figure is quite high that I put into Sunnyside at the very beginning. I want to start off by saying that because when I first started, my products were taking between 8 and 10 weeks to produce. They're made abroad, so then you had the shipping time on top of that. So I started it last September, but before I launched, I had to order the first collection that I launched with, the autumn winter collection that I had planned, and the Christmas collection. So please bear that in mind. I was ordering 3 collections before I'd made a penny, before I'd even launched the business, which is why it turned out to be more expensive. Once I'd started and the ball was kind of rolling, I could plan ahead. Now I pay for 1 collection at a time. It's a lot better. I was a little bit naive at first and I thought I could do all of it for 10,000. That was my ballpark figure. I was like, right, 10,000, I'm gonna put into this business to start it off, see what happens. You don't have to have £10,000 to start a business. What I'm trying to say is you can do it a lot cheaper. It depends what industry you're in and how hard you want to hit it. Please excuse how I look right now, but I'm just editing this video and I've got up to this point and I've actually said the figure wrong. So it turns out that the very first transfer I made into the Sunnyside business account was on the 10th of June 2021 and it was for £10,000. So the initial investment cost is £10,000. Then we go on to what I'm actually saying is the cost. I was very, very out because I forgot that first 10,000 payment. Anyway, on with the video. Last August, I transferred 5,000 into the Sunnyside account. 3 days later, I've clearly thought, whoops, that's nowhere near enough. An extra 3,000 goes in. 12 days after that, another 1,000. At this point, I'm talking to suppliers, I'm kind of getting things ready, I'm getting a few prices for the very first time. You can see the fact I've put £1,000 in, I was like, I need a little bit more. On the 2nd of September, which was the day before I actually launched, I put another 3,000 in. Then I put in 700, then 1,000, then 500, then 500, 400, 100, 300, and 30. So let's add all that up together. So now that I've done it right this time, the final figure that I put in of my personal money is £25,530, which is a lot of money, but I've always been a risk taker and I was kind of in the mindset of, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it well. I was speaking to different suppliers, getting different products in, getting samples made, which is why I started to add the smaller amounts. But yeah, it all added up.
clearly.
The next question is, I'm considering starting my own business. Is it worth it during the current times? This is a really hard question because sales are down for everyone right now because of the current climate, the cost of living crisis. But the general rule of thumb in business is that during the summer months it's quieter anyway, and then it kind of picks back up in September, October time before Christmas. So I personally think if you're going to start a business anytime from September is a good time of year to do it. Take into account that you might not get as many sales as you wanted to this year, but generally speaking I think it's a good time of year to start a business. And I think as long as you're not putting all of your life savings into a business, I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. Make sure you can still get by, then I think go for it, give it a shot. What was the biggest unexpected cost? It was the import tax when my products arrived in the UK. Most of my products are made in Dongyuan, I think that's how you pronounce it, Dongyuan. But they're made by a really fantastic team who I've built up a really strong relationship with over this past year. I honestly love them. I talk to them like they're my mates. We'll send each other selfies of what we're doing. My supplier updates me on her holidays, her family. It's the cutest thing in the world. I love the team I work with. The thing I don't love is the cost of import from Dongyuan to here. I honestly wasn't expecting it, but the first collection, and this was a good price, it's gone up a lot since the Russian-Ukraine war, but the first collection I had 4 designs, which was probably about 16 boxes of stock, I would say. The import tax for that was £1,600. And obviously, you have to factor that into the price of your product before you sell it. So the initial profit I thought I was gonna make on each product was completely out. How did you find out about legal things? Honestly, as I went along. When I tell you, before I started Sunnyside, I had no clue about anything legal, about talking to suppliers, about import tax, about manufacturing products. None of it. I didn't know anything. The only job I've ever had is making YouTube videos. So you can imagine going from filming my life and editing it and uploading it to then dealing with lots of people and lots of legalities was quite daunting. But try not to think about everything all in one go because you will learn as you're going along. There's still a lot of things I don't know. I'm still learning legal stuff and I'm thinking, oh my god, I definitely should have known that in the beginning. Someone said, how long did it take you to break even? So for those of you who might not know, when you break even, this is the definition. The break even point is the point at which total cost and total revenue are equal. So basically I'd spent like what, 20,000 on Sunnyside. At the point where I've made 20,000, not profit, but the revenue is 20,000. I haven't made a profit, but I haven't made a loss. That is the break-even point. I was quite lucky because I launched in September and then that Christmas launch was really busy. That sold out pretty quick. So let me have a quick look on Shopify. So for me, the point where I broke even was the beginning of November, which I think is around the time when I launched the Christmas collection, which leads me on to my next point. Someone said, I have a small business and struggling with knowing how much to pay myself and how much to leave in the business. Do you have any advice on this? This might come as a surprise to some of you, but I have never paid myself a penny from Sunnyside. Mostly because I wanted to wait until I've been trading for a year to give my accounts to my accountant so he could work out exactly how much profit I've made and what I should be paying myself from Sunnyside. I also didn't want to run before I could walk and pay myself like £500 a month, for example, but then run the account dry so I had nothing left to put into new collections, if that makes sense. I'm very lucky that I was able to work YouTube as well, so I kept my normal job. Starting Sunnyside did affect that, which I'll move on to in a little while perhaps. But yeah, I'm hoping to start paying myself a wage soon, but I don't want it to be loads. I just want to pay myself a little bit so that it feels rewarding, do you know what I mean? I'm not looking to pay all my bills through Sunnyside just yet, but to have a little something back from the business, because I spend a lot of time on Sunnyside every single day, to have a little bit back would just be a nice feeling. Oh no, some of you aren't gonna like this answer. The next question is, if you could choose YouTube or Sunnyside, which would it be? My ideal scenario would be for Sunnyside to be my full-time job, paying my wages, paying my bills, but to continue doing YouTube as a hobby, like I used to back in the day before I relied on it for an income. I would love to make videos as and when I want to, with absolutely no pressure, no worries about how much it's gonna bring in. I will always love creating videos. It's in my blood. I've been doing it for how many years now? Lots. I don't know how many years, but I started when I was 15 and now I'm 24. 9 years. Wow, quick maths. It's always going to be a part of my life. I'm never going to fully stop making YouTube videos, but I'd like to do it because it's fun and because I enjoy it, and if I get paid a little bit on the side, it's a bonus. but I would like Sunnyside to become my full-time job. I think just as I've gotten a bit older, it's a bit more of a stable income, and obviously when I move out and I'm paying my mortgage and I'm paying bills and this and that, that's when life gets scary and you need a stable income. So I wouldn't really say I'd choose either or, but that's the way I'd like to run it in the future. Then we have, this is kind of similar, do you think your business would succeed if you didn't have the advantage of your following? Yes. Personally, I do, because I'm a hard worker. I will not stop until I get somewhere, and I'm very dedicated and very motivated with Sunnyside. And there are so many other small dog businesses out there that have made it that aren't YouTubers, so it's so doable, and I know that I would have done that too. Also, you may not agree, but I personally don't think my Sunnyside success has come from having a YouTube following, because they're two very different things. Maybe, yeah, if I had a business where I was selling clothing, something that's accessible to all my YouTube followers, then perhaps it could have had an impact. But my business only appeals to people with a dog. It's a very niche market. It's a little bit more risky to go down a route like that, because I can't rely on my YouTube following to buy something, because not everyone's got a dog, not everyone can buy from my business. But in a nutshell, I think yes, I'm a very determined person. I would have made Sunnyside work. Maybe I got there a little bit quicker because I was able to spread the word quicker at the very beginning anyway, but now it's consistent and my Sunnyside customers are just regular customers. Lots of people on my Sunnyside Instagram account don't even know that I do this for a living. People have found my page through having a pet and being obsessed with them, and good on them. Do you have any regrets with starting Sunnyside? My main regret is that I didn't start it sooner. Honestly, I dilly-dallied for so long about whether to start the business or not. For months and months, I thought about doing it. But ultimately, I knew that as soon as you spread your eggs from being in one basket to two baskets, it's really hard to find the balancing act. So all of my eggs were in my little YouTube basket. I was just working on YouTube full time, and dare I say it was going well. I knew that if I put 50% of those eggs into another basket, YouTube could go down. This one could not work yet. Because you're giving both businesses 50% rather than one of them 100%, I knew that's going to be the case, and it has happened. I don't know whether it is the trend of social media changing. Lots of people prefer TikTok content to YouTube now. I have noticed that every YouTuber's views are down, pretty much every YouTuber's anyway. Lots of UK YouTubers that I've spoken to are in the same boat. So it's hard to judge whether it's because I've started Sunnyside that my views and my YouTube income is down, or whether that was just gonna happen anyway. But I do regret not starting it earlier because of that, because I was scared that that was gonna happen, and it has happened. But I wasn't expecting Sunnyside to be as successful as it was as quickly as it is. So it swings and roundabouts really. I've got two baskets now. One of them's a little bit down, but the other one is way further up than I thought it would be. And this person also asked, do you make more money from YouTube or Sunnyside? Business wise, obviously we've established I don't pay myself anything from Sunnyside, so personally I make more money from YouTube. But business wise, I think at this moment in time, Sunnyside earns more than YouTube does. Don't hold me to that. Actually, yeah, you can hold me to that, because that is straight facts. How did you set up your website? So the website that I use to sell, this was another question, is what e-commerce site do I use? I use Shopify, always have from the very beginning, and I really, really like it. So I set up my little URL through GoDaddy, first of all, and then you can connect it to Shopify. And Shopify, I've got templates that make it really easy to build the business, to be honest. There's not a lot that I've had to do about the coding of the website. There's a few little bits, but honestly, I just Google everything as I go. When I was building the business, I would Google something probably every hour. I'd get to the next step and be like, right, what next? I'll Google it. What do you wish you had known before starting the business? For me personally, I wish I'd known that the first sample I get of each product probably isn't going to be the final sample. It takes a lot of changes a lot of the time. So let me show you this example actually. This is one of my new autumn designs that's coming out soon, and this is the first sample of it. When this one arrived, you can barely see the design on that. If I show you a close-up, go on new camera, smashing the autofocus, you can see it a little bit. It's like autumnal line art, but to the naked eye, that is not good enough. And I'm not gonna lie, every single time a sample arrives and it's not what I was expecting it to be, it's a little bit disheartening. I wish I'd known from the beginning that that's gonna happen, but I would rather have paid, what was this, like £160 to get this and one other sample. I'd rather pay that money for the samples than have paid for this product to be produced in bulk, and then the bulk product arrived and it looked like this. Because I knew after this sample, I worked with my graphic designer, Alice Thorpe. Love you, Alice. She is literally the best graphic designer in the game. I asked Alice to make the lines a little bit thicker, which she did. A new sample was produced and now they're much better. So yeah, I wish I'd known that the actual producing of the products doesn't always go to plan. This next question, slightly strange. How do you cope with people saying you only got a dog as a mascot for your business idea? I didn't know people say that, but thank you for enlightening me. Do people really think I only got Sunny to start Sunnyside? No. When I first got Sunny, I did not know that the world of dog harnesses existed. It was only when Sunny was about probably 3 or 4 months old, I want to say, that I found the first harness business, which was Paws and Paws Boutique, and I fell in love. I discovered the whole dog community on Instagram. I discovered that everybody else had this harness obsession that I had found. And then I started to toy with the idea of creating designs myself. But I mean, how would I have known that dog harness businesses exist before I had a dog? I didn't know anything about dogs before I had Sunny. I still have so many questions. I'm really sorry if this video is really long. What have you found to be the best ways to attract more customers? Discount codes. People love a discount. I don't do them all the time because I think it would devalue the business if I had discount codes all the time, and it would also make zero financial sense to do discount codes all the time. But for example, I've now started doing this thing called Tenner Tuesdays, where every Tuesday I will choose one harness design to sell for £10. They're usually £23, so that's a big discount. But obviously, I could not sell all my harnesses for £10 every single day, every single week. I would make no money. But I do find it's a good way to get customers in, and then I hope that they will repurchase when it's not Tenner Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Where do you get your boxes from to ship? I get all of my shipping boxes on eBay from a seller called Meg4Tech. They're really good quality boxes. They come in all different sizes. And I've thought about doing branded boxes, but to be honest, they're so expensive. And I just think for something that people throw away, is it really worth it? So instead, I bought a business logo stamp on Etsy, and I stamp the inside of every single lid of every box before I make it up. So it's a little bit personalised. It's not a branded box. I just can't see the point in spending that much money on something that people throw away. Yes, it looks nice and I'd like to be able to do it one day, but at this moment in time, I would rather put that money into new collections than I would on the box that it arrives in. Would you ever employ anyone alongside yourself? Yes, definitely. I think the first person I'm going to employ would definitely be my mum. She helps me out a lot, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, but she doesn't get paid to do it either. I've told her that as soon as I get the go-ahead from my accountant to pay myself a wage, she'll be paid a wage too. But for this moment in time, she just enjoys helping me. She's the same mindset of me as that all money should have gone back into the business over this past year, but I am gonna pay her, obviously. My mum helps me a lot with the packing of the orders. She builds up pretty much all of the boxes, which is quite a tedious job, but it's so important, and I just don't get the time to do things like that because there's so much that goes into running a business. One day, I would like to employ someone to help with all parts of the business, really, packing the orders, doing the TikToks, someone that I just get along with, that's like my mate, and we can just do it together, you know? But for this moment in time, I've got to pay myself and pay my mum and then think about employing someone. But that is definitely the aim. How do you come up with ideas for designs? Quite often it'll be inspiration out and about. It will be a pattern that I see, something I see online, something I see on even like a t-shirt in Primark. I'm like, oh, I like those colours and I like that design, I like that graphic. And then I always put a document together, a very detailed document, apologies Alice, and I will put some photos of like inspiration, the kind of style I want, essays worth of information about the designs, and then I send that document to Alice and she makes my idea. Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm gonna make this the final question for today because I must have been filming for like an hour now, but the final one is, did you ever feel like giving up but pushed through it anyway? You're amazing, don't give up. Thank you very much. I can hand on my heart say that there has not been one moment with Sunnyside where I felt like giving up. Of course there's been blood, sweat and tears over it. It is a worry to know that I've got now thousands of pounds worth of stock sitting downstairs in my office that is going to have to go somewhere at some point. It is a scary thought, but it doesn't outweigh the motivation I have for the business. I'm so excited to see where it goes, and for me, I just want to keep it snowballing. I like the thought that my products are making dog walks for dog owners more enjoyable all around the world. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A. I hope you enjoyed my very honest answers. Like I said, if my honesty has offended you at any point, I'm really sorry about it, but it has already come out of my mouth. And I hope that to those of you who own small businesses or are thinking about doing it, or even those of you who are just a little bit nosy, have enjoyed listening to my rambles. Do subscribe if you want to see my future videos. I will be making weekly vlogs, studio vlogs. I can do more small business content if you want that. Let me know in the comments down below below, what is your favourite small business? What are they called? What are their Instagram handle? Let's share the small business love. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, but for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely week next week, and if you've got a small business, I hope you get lots of sales. Bye guys. Bye from this one too. Love ya.